Coach's Corner. No, be sure miss it. Okay, now I've been told there'll be an election September, May. Yeah, he should. May of next year, or when the government is defeated. September 14th. And I guess the old PC workers, they're really pushing the premier. Because right now, it's the time to have an election. In the PC workers' mind. Because that's their job. Okay? That's their job. It's a cushy job for 4 years. In October, there could be a second wave of Corona coming, and here we go again. Everything will be shut down, and it's going to be cold. It won't be like we had, a virus, a crisis in May, March, April, May. That wasn't. But in the winter, could be bad. So there's going to be. It's going to be terrible. So Higgs and the PC worker wants to call an election in the middle of a crisis, and where old people are scared to go vote because they don't want to catch the coronavirus. It's going to be a very, very low turnout, and Mr. Higgs will dare for the next 4 to 5 years go around the province and call himself the premier. He wouldn't be the premier. In my views, yes, maybe he would have won in this so-called democratic system, but he wouldn't be the premier. I will never, never call him the premier if he calls an election. It was just like, you wouldn't remember. Remember Bernard Lord? Bernard Lord came to power. The reason we know of Bernard Lord is two words, one name. Camille Thériault. Camille Thériault. Boy, am I getting that old? Camille Thériault won the liberal leadership in St. John. Forgot the date. Anyway, it was in mid 90s. Anyway, he won the leadership. And I told Camille, and I told him, listen, after 2 months, call an election. You can't go around the province and calling yourself premier if you're only elected by the party and not by the people. He never listened to me. He went around, they went all over the place. And he was calling himself premier. He waited 1 year to call an election. And guess what happened? Suddenly this unknown comet, Bernard Lord, came along, bilingual, and called himself the 200 days of change. And the big wave of Bernard Lord came. Even Carol Keddy, God bless her soul, got in there. That was the worst MLA we ever seen in our life, and a focus trial. So it'll be the same as Blaine Higgs. Blaine Higgs, right now, like I said in the early video, people are looking at Blaine Higgs during this crisis like he's what's that word again? Oh yeah, he's human. Before, Blaine Higgs was Minister of Finance with David Alward, and was always, never smiled and always serious. And so, what happens? Next thing you know, during the crisis, he's showing, what's that word? Oh yeah, feelings. He cares. So next thing you know, people look at him and say, my God, look at him. I never hear one person say a bad thing about Blaine Higgs during this crisis. But this would be just like, and I told the PC head montrose, I said, this would be, if he calls an election, it would be just like Hitler. Well, Hitler, you can't compare Higgs to Hitler. I can't. Hitler was very, very charming. He was very charming. And Hitler rise during a depression. In Germany, nobody was working. It was chaos. Hitler stepped forward, this charming guy. And next thing you know, we know what happened. It wasn't too charming. He wasn't charming at all. He was an asshole. Higgs, now during a crisis, to call an election that everybody that he's, you know, he's for the people, and call an election during a crisis. I seen a PC worker yesterday, and I said, "Hey, scumbag, scumball! That's what you are, a scumbag or scumball or whatever, asshole." And it would be terrible, terrible. So there's more deep cuts coming. There's another coronavirus epidemic is going to show up, and what's going to happen? This thing here again, and people are going to panic all over the place, and Higgs will be finally the premier. Now, will we see the caring person that we've seen? He's going to win. There's no question about it. He is going to win. But he should call that house behind me and make sure, put a budget, and the budget, put a ridiculous budget, let the opposition bring the government down, and then you'll have an election. And then he said, well, poor me, you know, I tried. But to call a snap election, no. Because if there's another round of the corona crisis coming around, the coronavirus, you can't go by regulation, because myself, I'll never wear a mask. I usually wear a mask, but if he calls an election, I will tell him, write me a ticket, let's go to court. I want to bring the government in court. If they don't give a shit about a crisis and call an election in the middle of it, and have people gather in big halls and rah, and you know, I mean, no. So I'm jumping. I'm getting a little bit tired here. Okay, it's too long, but the bottom line, September 14, he's going to call an election, supposedly. If he does, it's a big step backward for Mr. Higgs, and he will lose all respect. He will lose mine, I'll tell you that right now. He'll never be premier in my books.